vast, empty darkness of space, an armada gathers. It is the remaining fleet of the Republic. The ships are fewer than imagined, some of which are derelict and undergoing last-minute repairs. The intervening years of the war have not been kind to the Republic. The polished veneer of valor and heroism has slowly been chipped away by the ongoing conflict. In the observation deck of the flagship, the heads of military and state gather to discuss the impending battle. General Medine addresses the commanders. Leia and Poe are present. The mood is somber. Ladies and gentlemen, our plan is secure, but make no mistake. This is our darkest hour. We can no longer outpace the Star Forge's production. Moreover, as you all know, we lose systems to the First Order weekly, either voluntarily or by force. Their fleet has chipped away at our defenses one by one with deadly precision, engagement after engagement. But we believe in our plan. After studying the plans provided to us by the Jedi, we have found 3 structural weaknesses in the station. Each of the Star Forge's armatures have shields that protect it from the Tatooine sun's radiation. And while their military blockade is considerable, we believe if we can get down to each of the armature's vents, we can fire a torpedo that will disrupt the station long enough to melt the hull and allow the station to succumb to the sun's gravitational pull. We are committing all of our remaining resources to this mission. In success, we take back the Republic and liberate the galaxy from the cancerous First Order. The alternative is unimaginable. We cannot fail. Are you certain, General? The crowd turns to a silhouetted figure in the doorway. It's Luke. He walks into the meeting chamber, hobbled. He heavily leans on his cane to compensate for a severe limp. His footsteps strain with effort and pain. Rey and Finn follow him in. This is War Master Skywalker. Nothing is certain. If we endeavor in this assault, I fear we will not be victorious. Nothing the Emperor does is straightforward. If we attack him, it's because he wants us to attack him. Master Skywalker, with all due respect, you ventured into combat with far less planning and resources than we do now. Those were different times, General. Master Skywalker, your protests of this mission have been noted, and your service to this galaxy is unquestionable, but we have no other option. If we wait, we will continue to be picked off. If we retreat, the First Order takes more ground. If we defend our position, we get overrun. This is our only hope at securing victory. We go to battle in 2 hours. The group disperses until the General, Leia, and a handful of others remain. The General walks past Luke, dismissive. Heed my words, General, to march these people into battle now is to march them towards an early grave. The General drops his reverent demeanor to show his true colors. Big words coming from a cripple who couldn't keep his own house in order. Perhaps it's time to step aside. Rey grabs the General and throws him against the wall, bringing her lightsaber to his neck. The room tenses. Guards raise blasters. That's Luke Skywalker, you ungrateful idiot! Every meal you eat, every freedom you enjoy is because of him! Have some respect! Rey, stop. Enough. Rey powers down her lightsaber, seething with anger. The General is entitled to his opinions, Rey. He walks off. I don't like him. Yeah, we got that. What are we going to do? The group discusses their options. Luke forbids Rey and Finn from going on this mission. They protest, but hear his words. Rey and Poe speak privately. Poe has to deploy. It's his duty. Rey fears what could happen. She's scared of losing him. I'll come back to you, I promise. You better. The two kiss and Poe walks away to the hangar. The Republic gets ready for battle. There is a stillness. Long gone are the rousing speeches, the enthusiastic battle cries of stories past. This is different. They are in the fight for their lives against a threat of unbelievable scale, but they march to war regardless. A few hours later, they look out into the cold, dark void, ready to face whatever may come. 3, 2, 1. Punch it! On Tatooine, Ben and the Knights of Ren roam the streets of Mos Eisley. The city and the planet, for that matter, have completely changed. The streets are clean. Water and food flow readily in this oasis. A far cry from the once barren planet. Kylo is pleased with the progress. The Starforge has given them the tools to terraform the planet into a thriving society. He walks past an old merchant shop that says Watto's Workshop. A prize pod racer now rusted away is on display. You looking to buy a Speedermaster Ren? No, thank you. He moves on. A gigantic structure is being built in the center of the city. This will be the Emperor's new seat of government. Parts fly down from the forge daily. The Emperor reaches out to Kylo to communicate from the forge. How does it look, Lord Ren? Impressive. Most impressive. This is the future we've worked so hard for, my apprentice. Look how far we've come. Prosperity and security are now within the grasp of any who follow us. Kylo looks up at the sky to see an array of satellites being put in position. He notices them but chooses not to comment just yet. Instead, he asks, "Why Tatooine, Your Excellency?" Isn't it obvious? This is the homeland of your bloodline, a place of great power, indifferent in its cruelty. By softening these lands for the people, we can show the galaxy the Forge's power, a model for all worlds who wish to be rewarded and follow, to be transformed to a paradise. Of course, it makes perfect sense, my master. It will please you then that your court is nearly complete. You will be able to join us here on the surface soon, and soon your own goal shall be complete, young Solo, if that is still your wish. Ben thinks for a moment, questioning his own motives. It is, Lord Palpatine. Good. Your father's return will be a most celebrated reunion. Yes, thank you, Lord Palpatine. The two end communication, and Ben takes a more scenic route that takes him to a familiar landscape. Ben arrives at the old Lars farm. He removes his helmet and walks the grounds. He sees Shmi Skywalker's headstone along with Owen and Beru. So much history, so much loss, generations of conflict unending. He looks out at the awesome vastness of the desert as the twin suns dip below the skyline. The forge pulls energy off of the first sun, twisting its energy for nefarious means. Look how far we've come indeed. Ben has an eerie feeling he is being watched but sees no one, only whispers. Then, the Republic jumps out of light speed. They have arrived. Ben smirks from the ground, so it begins. He hops in his ship and flies off to the forge. In space, the fleet sees the forge and the armada they need to punch through to get to it. Poe is overwhelmed. TIE fighters pour out of the cruisers. The open theater of battle grows hot with conflict. Ships get torn to shreds. The Republic brings down one of the cruisers. They cheer and celebrate to see 5 more coming from the forge to take its place. The armada is not the focus. Get to the forge. Poe and the crew get through. They skim the exterior of the station and find the fortified trench along the armature. They dive into the trench and face off against TIE fighters and anti-air cannons. The run is brutal. Rey, Luke, and Finn listen from the observation room. I'm almost there, getting ready to launch the first shot. Poe opens up his targeting system, but something is wrong. Command! Something is wrong. I'm not seeing the ventilation shaft on our scanners. The other 2 pilots communicate there is nothing on our side either. What's going on? Where are the vents? The general is in shock. Command! What are your orders? I repeat, what are your orders? He cannot reply. What do we do? The plans were faked. The Emperor ensured that there were no structural weaknesses in this star forge. Ben cranes down into the trench with his ship and other TIE fighters. How's it going, Poe? Ben, what are you doing? The Republic fleet falters. Anti-air cannons turn to face the oncoming pilots. I'm securing the future of the galaxy. Killing me isn't going to bring Han back, Ben. No, but it might make me feel better. Leia grabs the communicator. Get out of there, Poe! The sound of his mother's voice cuts through him. He pauses, stunned. His entourage acts when he hesitates and opens fire. Explosions are heard. Poe's indicator vanishes on the screen. Poe! Rey cries out. The metal and communicators of the room twist and break under the weight of her grief. The whole room shakes. Luke grabs her and stares into her eyes. Control yourself. She grits her teeth as if she is ready to explode, but eventually she regains control. The room settles. The rumbles of force energy are replaced by tears. She falls to her knees, weeping. She speaks words with conviction, a proclamation. I am going to kill him. Luke looks deep into her pained eyes. His look says it all. That is not the way. She drops her head. Rage subsides, giving way to grief. Get some rest, Rey. We will talk later. Rey gets up and leaves for her chambers. 2 soldiers discuss the scene from the side. They recount several stories about Rey's behavior on the battlefield from the intervening years. Did you hear about what she did on Cantoraba? She ripped the First Order to shreds. I heard no one was left alive. She throws them a look. They shut up. Leia approaches Luke after she leaves the room. You're going to have something to deal with if you're not careful, Luke. The reality of the situation hits him. I know, but I am not ready to give up on her yet. On the Starforge, Kylo approaches the Emperor. You hesitated to take out the Republic pilot. Forgive me, Master. He is someone I knew in my former life. Mind your feelings, young Kylo. The path of resolve we walk requires sacrifice. Not all are meant to follow. I understand, my master. The Emperor instructs Ben that it is time to put the final nail in the coffin of the Republic, and to hand-deliver them the offer for a ceasefire. Ben smiles. The war will finally be over, and we will restore the galaxy with peace. What if another rebellion rises, Master? The Emperor grins as if he had been waiting for this question his entire life. Dear boy, come sit with me. There is something I've been wanting to show you. A door opens. Ben is shocked. How is this possible? The Emperor smiles. All things are possible through the Force, my boy. Cut to Lando's cell. Ben enters, frantic. It's going to happen soon. What? I am going to trap the Emperor. What? How? The First Order is offering terms for the Republic. I am going to do it after that when he has his guard down, thinking he's won. He's weak now. Why not just do it now? He will just transfer his essence to another one of his clones. I am going to let him use me as a vessel, and then I will bind his spirit when he tries to take hold of me, trapping him forever. Then I will bring my father back. Kid, you're crazy. This isn't going to go the way you think. You think your father is going to be okay with what you've done when this is all over? Ben is clearly no longer listening. When I bring him back, I will have defeated the Emperor and taken control of the Starforge. We will use it for the good of all mankind. And you'll just step aside, giving up all of that power, eh? I know what I am doing, Uncle Lando, you'll see. I'm pretty sure that's what your grandfather used to tell himself back in the day, too. Ben glares. Lando sees fear in his eyes. Why now, kid? What's he doing that's got you so rattled? Ben doesn't answer and walks away. Once he's gone, Lando turns to a device he had been working on. It's a wrist link he's been building from scrap parts. He needs to escape before his nephew is lost forever. Now, with the Republic fleet all but destroyed, the First Order delivers an offer for a ceasefire courtesy of Kylo Ren. They offer peace in exchange for the Republic and her remaining systems to dissolve and be absorbed into the First Order to create a new galactic order. As a token of good faith, they instruct that they hand over Luke Skywalker and command the Jedi to disband or be wanted for treason. While the Republic wants to entertain this idea, Leia adamantly rejects it. She gathers the group in secret to tell them what's happening and devise a plan to stop it. Rey will go to the Lahan system to see what she can learn about the ancient people who designed the Forge and its vulnerabilities. Finn will go to Batuu to recruit support for a resistance. They are the most recent system approached by the First Order. Leia declares that the resistance is born today. Just at that moment, an X-Wing blasts out of lightspeed. It's heavily damaged but intact. It's Poe. Rey runs to him and holds him. We thought we lost you. The shot knocked out my transmitter. I couldn't get in touch with anyone. Poe looks around. What did I miss? The group fills him in. It is decided that he will go with Finn in the recruitment effort. Back on the Starforge, Ben and the Emperor speak. Do you think they will accept the terms? They will try to stall, but eventually they will give in. They have no choice. Their armies are all but annihilated. Their worlds join us in droves after we choke out their supply chains, and they do not have the supplies or manpower needed at their shipyards. Our victory is all but secure. That is good news. Master, I have given it a great deal of thought, and I wonder if now is not the time to make you whole. What do you mean, my apprentice? Use me as your next vessel, so that together we may rule as one. The Emperor is surprised by this offer. And what of your father, my boy? What could make a father prouder than seeing his son grow into his full power? I couldn't agree more. Very well, my apprentice. We shall perform the ritual. You honor me, my master. Ben walks away, confident that the Emperor will take his bait. He still hears whispers. Ben, no. It is the voice of Anakin. He dismisses it again. Back in Lando's cell, he is able to get his wrist link to work. He overrides one of the droids and gets them to break him out. As they move through the forge, he tells the droid to search the database for anything the First Order might be planning. And that's when he finds it. The First Order's endgame. Every resource, every piece of farming equipment, every water purifier is imbued with dark side energy. The Emperor is building an array of satellites around Tatooine to broadcast a brainwashing signal that is attuned to those who have been using the Starforge's resources. It will pacify whomever, whenever, anywhere in the galaxy. Once his throne on Tatooine and the array are complete, he will be able to command anyone anywhere to do whatever he needs. Submit, fight, defend, build, breed, whatever he needs. The citizens of the First Order will obey. It is Order 66 on steroids. They are calling it the Final Order. And what's worse, people won't even notice what's happening to them. The ultimate and total manipulation of an entire galaxy. Lando is speechless. He can't believe it. By the Force, come on D6, let's go. Lando sneaks around the forge using his hacking tool to make him blind to surveillance. Eventually, he is able to make it to one of the smaller ships coming out of the forge. He poses as one of the pilots and escapes. Hours later, the Republic votes on the ceasefire. They are going to agree to the terms. An armed guard approaches Luke. They give him the news. The Jedi are going to resist. Luke, don't make this harder than it already is. They are forcing our hand. Delivering me into the hands of the First Order will not appease them. They will always want more. I agree, but in order for peace talks to continue, this is their condition. In a flash, Leia pulls a gun on the guards. Best let him go, Captain. I could have handled them, Leia. You were being too slow, Luke chuckles. He hobbles to the hangar, forced to escape. He is now on the run from the Republic he helped to build. He gets in the X-Wing and looks back at Leia, uncertain of when they will be together again. I won't fail you. Leia nods, and he vanishes into the void. It is heard over the loudspeaker and in broadcasts all around the galaxy that Luke is a wanted man, and that all Jedi should turn themselves over. Back at the temple, the Jedi look at one another confused, but nod. They depart the temple and go into hiding. In one tavern, a woman sits in a booth alone. She looks up at the screen. Seeing Luke Skywalker is wanted. Concerned, she pays her tab and departs. Poe and Finn arrive on Batuu to petition for resistance. Do we know what we're doing? Nope. All right, well then let's go. Their system is poor and is the latest to be approached by the First Order to join. They see on the newsfeed that Luke is wanted. They decide Finn should keep a low profile. But regardless, it doesn't take long for them to get into hot water. They are arrested after giving their first attempt at recruiting for inciting an unlawful protest. Poe wants to fight back, but Finn says they are not going to inspire anyone that way. Finn hides his lightsaber and they wait for their hearing in court. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, Rey visits the Lahan system in hopes of uncovering the secrets of the Star Forge. There is a substantial ruin on the planet that looks much like an old alien base of some kind. She enters. The walls are tattered and rusted, the floors wet. This is an ancient place, a place of old power long forgotten. Steps can be heard from behind her. Rey turns, lightsaber activated, ready to attack. Who goes there? The blue glow of a ghostly figure in black approaches. However, this one is different. His ghostly form melts away to project something closer to flesh. I've gone by so many names. Darth. Butcher. The Prodigal Knight. The one who stands alone. I have served the darkness and the light, but now I simply go by Revan. Rey's eyes go wide. And I've been waiting for you, Rey, for a very, very long time. Darth Revan the Redeemed. I've read stories about you. How is this possible? All things are possible with the Force. What are your intentions, Spirit? My intention is to answer your questions. How do I destroy the Starforge? Revan smirks. Destruction is a result, not an answer. He coaxes her. Oh, come on, Rey. You've never wondered why you are the way that you are. Why do things seem to happen precisely in the way they're supposed to around you? Why your rage is always brimming just under the surface? Rey's thoughts deepen. She now understands what question to ask. Who am I? Good. Now that is a question worth answering. Revan pulls a chair towards Rey and Force pushes her into it. As long as you've been with the Jedi, I am sure they educated you on their famed prophecy of the one who brought balance to the Force and forever banished the Sith from existence. Anakin. Yes, Anakin. However, what the history books will not tell you is that the Sith were aware of this prophecy also, and they needed a countermeasure. Someone who could come along after the Chosen One fulfilled their destiny and undo it all when the time was right, when defenses were down and egos were high. A child of the darkness chosen by the Sith could come along and upend it all. Would you like to guess who that might be? Rey can't say the words, but her expression says it all. Yes, Rey. Yes. No. That's not true, that's impossible. I was a science experiment of Palpatine's. I turned. I am a Jedi, I serve the light. And so the Chosen One who was born in the light toiled in the darkness to return to light. So too would the Dark One wander in the light before returning to the darkness once more. You are a reflection of the Chosen One, Rey. The negative. Echoes of each other reverberating through the Force. No, I won't betray the Jedi. I won't. You will, Rey. You have no choice. It is your destiny. How do you know this? How is this even possible? Because I was there when it happened. Many millennia ago, my spirit was so tortured, so fractured, it split into two. The light and the dark, dancing together but never able to come together, always at odds. The wills saw fit that my light became the essence of what would become Anakin Skywalker, and the Sith saw to it that you were born of the essence of my darkness. The Sith poured all my fury, all of my rage into the plans for the Star Forge, so that when it was rebuilt, you would emerge as its first creation, just as the Chosen was born by miraculous forces of nature. You were created by miraculous forces of machine. And when you return to the Forge, if you do, you will become one with the Forge again as its true master and operator. And you will plunge the galaxy into darkness as its arbiter of fate, the undying empress of the Sith. It is what you were programmed to be, the ultimate contingency, the hidden chapter at the end of the book. I won't do it, I can't. I believe you. I believe you will try to resist, but the dark side of the Force is strong. The Forge wants to live, wants to spread. You're its only hope of accomplishing that. Once it forces you to take command, you will belong to it and it to you, and the age of the Sith will begin. No, I won't let it. There has to be a way to stop it. If you try, the Forge will very likely rip you to shreds. And if I stay away from the Forge, then your friends will try to stop it on their own accord. They may succeed, they may not, but they will surely perish in the process. Why are you telling me all of this? Why do you care? My entire life I've pursued knowledge, to understand the deep way of things. I wanted to see how the story ended, not just mine, but the galaxy's. Would we overcome the darkness and live in the light, or would the galaxy plunge into the darkness for all time? Forces constantly in struggle. I looked further ahead than any other Jedi ever had, but I could never see the end. This is as far as I was ever able to go. This choice, this decision. I could see no further. You are the key, the final piece of the puzzle. A point so distant for me I thought it might never come, but here we are. And what do you think I should do? Whatever I tell you, Rey, you've already made the choice in your mind. The plan is unfolding now, even as we speak. So if I go aboard the Star Forge, I fall into darkness for the rest of time, but I live and reign forever. If I let my friends board the Forge, they may succeed in destroying it, but they will surely die. Rey steps out of the chamber, transformed by this information. Her final moments await her. Across the galaxy, Luke finds himself in familiar territory. He lands on Dagobah, searching for what? He doesn't know, but it's the most secluded place in the galaxy. He needs a place to meditate. He walks the grounds and thinks back to times gone by. In his melancholy, he trips and falls over a pile of rocks, frustrated with his plight. He is lost. For the first time in a long time, he is uncertain what to do next. He whispers to himself, "This wasn't supposed to be how the story ends." Who said there was an end? Luke looks up shocked, lost for words. He can't believe his eyes. Mara? Hey there, farm boy. How? I heard Luke Skywalker might have gotten himself in over his head. I figured there's only one place in the galaxy he would go. It's good to see you. You too. He shrugs, defeated. She grabs his hand. and pulls his eyes up to meet hers. He's waiting for you. Luke looks deep into the bog, uncertain. Mara pulls his focus back to her. Hey, I'll be right here. He gazes at her tenderly. He nods and gets up to his feet. Luke moves through the brush and sees who he came to commune with. Long time has it been my old apprentice. Hello, Master Yoda. The two exchange greetings. Why is this happening, Master? Was it not prophesied my father was to bring balance to the Force? That the Sith's reign would end? Yoda speaks in his distinct inverted cadence. Certainly overlooked something was. Worry about the past we must not. Understand where we are we must. What we will do. I cannot do anything more, Master. My time is spent. I'm old. My body is broken. I have nothing else to give. Yoda chuckles to himself. All this time and still nothing you have learned. Luke is a bit dejected. Young Skywalker always looking somewhere else and never where he is. Yoda the enemy, No! What did I teach you? Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. How am I supposed to defeat someone when I can barely move? In that moment, a voice comes from around the tree. Well, speaking as someone with a broken body for most of his life, I would agree, Master Yoda. Luke looks up. Father? Hello, son. Luke breaks down, overwhelmed by the stakes ahead of him. He feels like a failure. I've lost my nephew. The Emperor still reigns. The Republic has turned against us. Everything I've ever accomplished undone in an instant. Anakin kneels down. Luke, close your eyes. Do you have air in your lungs? Yes. Feel the rhythm of your heart. Does it still beat? Yes. And the Force? Do you feel it? A warmth comes over Luke. I do. Then you have everything you need. I still don't see how I can stop the Emperor. You don't need to see the end to know that it is real. You just need to believe. Now come, we have work to do. In jail, Poe and Finn are escorted to a public trial for their disruption of the peace. Poe argues that this is no time for social mores. Liberty and freedom hang by a thread. His antagonist approach annoys the magistrate. He argues that is the people's duty to uphold the government diplomatically. Finn looks over at Poe. He has stayed silent up to this point, trying to conceal his Jedi status. But he can remain quiet no longer. Poe urges him to stay quiet, but he rises to speak. And when is enough, magistrate? The audience appears confused, but intent on listening. You all ask why we care so much, why we fight. Well, let me tell you. I was born into slavery of the Imperial Remnant. They may say the First Order is different, but it's not. They've just replaced cruelty with compliance. But you're only as free as they allow you to be. Until you say something they don't like. Then they will take away everything. Your business, your home, your children. Finn looks around the room. This is what they will do to you because this is what they did to me. I was conscripted to fight in a war I had no say in. I was trained to kill, and I did kill, but my life didn't begin until I said enough. Until I took my life into my own hands. Enough! The magistrate yells. Guards fly into the court. Finn Force pulls his lightsaber to his grip, and Force pushes all the guards to the wall. Yes, magistrate, I agree. It is enough. But what about the rest of you? Have you had enough? A voice shouts from the crowd. The galaxy will forget us long before this war is over, Master Jedi. We are poor farmers here. What can we do? What can we do indeed? I seem to remember one farm boy who did quite a lot when he heard the call. Another voice. He was part of a bloodline, a legacy. We have no such magical providence awaiting us. You're right. Some stories swallow up people like us. Tales for larger destinies at play. But to that I say, maybe it's time we write our own destinies. Too long have we let others speak for us, stand for us, fight for us. Too long have we cowered in the shadows, letting the whims of fate tell us our story. But maybe it's time to be our own authors. Maybe today we say enough. Maybe today we say no government is too great nor emperor too strong to keep us from our freedom. The room erupts into applause. Finn has won the room. Poe leans over to a reporter. Get this out to every outlet, every planet, every system that has a spare ship. Finn's words echo across the cosmos. On every planet, in every village. Back at the Starforge, Ben steps towards the platform for the Eye of the Force. It is finally time. The galaxy is ready for a new era. Are you? Yes, my master. The Emperor smiles. His plan for restoration is complete. Ben and the Emperor get into position. An Imperial droid asks if they are ready. Do it! At that moment, a pulse of energy flows from Palpatine to Ben. The power exchange is immense, sending Ben to his knees, overwhelmed by the velocity of power coursing through his veins. Then it stops. The room falls silent. Master Ren, Supreme Leader Palpatine. Kylo rises, but Ben is no longer behind the eyes. It's Palpatine. Long have I waited to be restored to a worthy form. He marvels at his mobility. Disappointment after disappointment. Vader being hacked to bits. Luke denying his place in the galaxy. But now, finally, I have everything I require. We can rule for 100 years more in this body. That's what you think. The Emperor turns. Huh? In the white void of Ben's consciousness, the Emperor stands helpless. Ben begins to attack Palpatine. Lightsabers activate. They exchange blows. In the real world, Ben and the Emperor struggle for control of the body. Oh my boy. Was this your plan all along? To trap my soul here while you take all of my power? Surely you are not that stupid. The pair trade blows. Not as stupid as a man who thinks he can live forever. Sabers exchange again. Finally, the Emperor unleashes lightning on Ben. He falls to his knees. Young fool, only now do you understand the magnitude of your failure. Ben is tortured continuously, his screams unable to be heard, trapped in his own body. In the real world, Ben's body rises again, this time unburdened with struggle. The Emperor's spirit glimmers behind Ben's pained eyes. The Knights of Ren approach. Kylo, were you successful? He smirks. He unleashes a violent force push, sending all of the Knights of Ren across the room. He laughs hysterically. Rey, Finn, and Poe all return to the Republic fleet to meet with Leia, downloading the team on their missions. Rey doesn't tell them about Revan's warning about her going on the Forge, only that she can't board it. Suddenly, Lando comes through the door. He made it back to the Republic. He hugs Leia and Chewie upon his return. Frantic, he tells them what's coming. They're calling it the Final Order. It will make every person in the galaxy a drone for the Emperor's bidding. Poe urges Leia to tell the Senate. There is no way they will agree to surrender if they know the truth. Leia agrees, but also sees an opportunity. If we can kill the Emperor out in the open, maybe we don't need to destroy the Forge. We could take him down on the ground at the surrendering ceremony. Who will strike the Emperor? Leia steps forward. I will do it. I will be closest to him. Leia, no! Rey chimes in. Where is Luke? We can't find him, and the window is closing. It has to be me. The group looks around the room somberly. Let's burn the First Order down. On Tatooine, our heroes gather. Leia and many of the governing bodies are present. Rey and Finn quietly hide in the crowd. Poe is not present. He is gathering the Resistance fleet. The ceremony begins. The procession is massive. Thousands are gathered. Weapons and military forces on full display as the crowd cheers. Leia has her old lightsaber tucked under her dress. Palpatine's envoy arrives, but it's not him. It's Ben. Leia is speechless, devastated. Oh, Ben. What have you done? Shocked, Leia's resolve quickly erodes. Palpatine as Ben climbs the steps in full regalia. The audience is perplexed by this display. Everyone expected Palpatine. Ben turns to address the crowd. My children, greetings. The Force has seen fit to give me a new form. The heroic and noble servant of the First Order, Kylo Ren, offered his body to me when he saw my weakened state. His sacrifice will ensure that our reign will endure for years to come. May his name never be forgotten. The crowd chants. This is it. Will Leia be able to act? He signs the decree for the ceasefire and holds it up to the crowd. They applaud. Leia loses her nerve. She can't strike down her son. Rey and Finn see things starting to go wrong. Palpatine continues his speech. Unfortunately, the cowardly Jedi refuse to turn themselves over into our custody, so we are left with no choice but to bring them to justice. My first act as Supreme Leader of the new Galactic Order is to have any terrorist who opposes our sovereignty be hunted down and brought to justice. Why don't you start here then, Palpatine? Everyone looks to the end of the causeway. The voice is Luke's, but his face is cloaked by his covered hood. Master Skywalker, a man of honor after all. Have you come to finally swear your loyalty? I've come to do more than that. The crowd and the Emperor are confused. I've come to bargain. Give me back my nephew. Willing to play along, he improvises. Master Skywalker, Kylo Ren gave himself of his own accord. Take me instead. The crowd laughs. Oh, Jedi, I'm afraid your best years are behind you. Your body is broken. You have nothing I want. Perhaps. He removes his hood to reveal his face. The crowd gasps. Nobody can believe what they are seeing. His wrinkles gone, his limp healed, his age reduced and restored to a Luke no older than 30, a man in his prime. Palpatine is surprised. How is this possible? The secrets of immortality do not live in the darkness, Your Excellency, but the light. That is impossible. Luke gestures to his form. And you would give this all up to give your nephew new life? I will do anything to save my family, Your Excellency. But you must return him now. He looks over at Mara Jade, who hides out in the crowd. The moment holds. The seduction of true immortality is almost more than he can bear. The Emperor looks through the crowd, finding a way to make this a spectacle. Very well, Master Skywalker. Today the Jedi surrender. For the new galactic order. The crowd cheers. For the final order! In that moment, a spirit flashes. A gigantic energy release fills the valley. Ben falls to his knees. The Emperor has left his body. Ben, are you there? Mother? Oh, Ben, what did you do? Chaos ensues. Luke is immediately dragged away onto a transport ship to be taken to the forge. Getting his bearings, Ben asks, "Where's Luke?" "He is taking your place, son." "What? No!" The full gravity of the situation hits him. All of his decisions, all of his choices, his dissent has added up to nothing. I couldn't stop him. I wasn't strong enough. I thought if I was strong enough, I just wanted Dad back. We all lose our way from time to time, son. What's important is that we are able to find our way back home. With those words, Ben's spirit finally quiets. His anger subsides. He knows what he must do now. We need to stop him. He's planning something. We know Lando told us. Phasma takes control of the chaos. Citizens, calm yourselves. All is well. You are now all under the protection of the new galactic order. Please resume the festivities. Finn stands up and activates his lightsaber. By order of the free people of the Galactic Republic, we hereby reject your terms. At that moment, lightsabers begin to activate in the crowd. Hundreds. Civilians begin to scatter. For the Republic. The armies of Jedi and the Resistance make their voices heard and run into battle towards the final order control room in the Emperor's palace. Phasma radios the forge. They are revolting, Your Excellency. Activate the final order. Yes, sir. The satellites activate. A signal is broadcast. The Tatooine citizens stop panicking and begin to fight the Jedi. Finn screams, "Don't hurt them. They don't know what they're doing." Poe jumps out of lightspeed with a legion of civilian starcraft. Okay, everyone do whatever you can to bring down the satellite array. The Republic, combat the Armada overhead. First Order commanders ask where's the Republic finding all of these warships. They're not warships, sir. They're just people. In disbelief, they order the Forge to start cranking out more ships. Finn leads the charge on the ground. The scale of the conflict is greater than anything we've seen. Jedi, stormtroopers, citizens, all mix in a sea of unending conflict. Finn, now stronger in combat than we've ever seen him, has adopted a new fighting technique incorporating blaster fire offensive and lightsaber defensive. Him and Phasma square off. I've been waiting a long time for this. Well, I won't keep you waiting any further. They begin to duel. Ben looks at Rey. We need to get to Luke. Concerned about the Revan's prophecy, she hesitates. It's now or never, Rey. I can't take him alone. She takes a deep breath and accepts what needs to happen and goes with Ben. Now partnered Ben and Rey battle their way to a star carrier that can get them to the Forge. Ben screams to Finn, "Get to the throne room. You can override the final order from there." Finn nods. His battle with Phasma is ferocious. In the sky, Ben and Rey fly their way through the battle overhead. Lando and Chewbacca help them clear out a path. Ben says, "Thanks, Lando. No problem, kid. Bring Luke home." Back on the ground, Mara Jade's primary focus is on saving the citizens who are under the spell of the final order. She takes down an AT-AT and then hides several kids in its shell to protect them from fire. Finn and Phasma are locked in conflict. Finn tries to force pull some debris towards her, but she deflects it easily. "Stupid man, I don't care how many little Jedi tricks you learn, you'll always be a sad, pathetic excuse for a stormtrooper ready to die." Finn spits out blood and attacks. With a few decisive moves, Finn grabs Phasma and decapitates her. Her lifeless chrome armor falls to the ground. Finn stares at his tormentor for a moment or two and then walks away. "You first." This decisive act motivates the Jedi and Resistance troopers to press on. In the annals of the Forge, Luke gets strapped into the platform of the Eye of the Force. At long last, the son of Skywalker is mine. With fear in his eye, Luke braces for the pain. The eye starts up again, pouring the Emperor's cruelty and malice into young Luke. He rises, marveling at his new form. Ben and Rey arrive on the platform. Rey immediately feels the pull to the darkness. She feels heavier. Uncertain, a voice calls to her, "Rey!" "Are you all right?" "I'll be fine, let's go." In the chamber for the Eye of the Force, now in the body of Luke Skywalker, Palpatine marvels at his youth and asks, "How is this achieved?" Luke speaks from the ethereal plane of his consciousness. "It's not." "What?" His body begins to deteriorate. Age returns to his face. An astral projection fades. In the ethereal plane, Luke explains that he was able to make himself appear younger, using an astral projection. Bait that he knew the Emperor wouldn't be able to resist. Clever Jedi, but no matter. "I can escape this mortal coil and find another." A voice is heard from around the corner. "Not anymore, Sidious." Sidious turns. It's Anakin. He has transmitted his life force into his son to give him the strength to endure the projection and to trap Sheev Palpatine for good. "You!" "Me." Now both untethered by gravity, physics, space, or time, Anakin and Palpatine battle on a scale never before seen. It's poetic in its violence and power. They crash through the walls, hurtling them into key moments in Anakin and Palpatine's lives. Their memories are the battleground of their struggle. Anakin saying goodbye to his mom, her death, him killing Windu, being destroyed on Mustafar. The trauma of the memories distracts him, and Palpatine gains the upper hand, allowing him to take over Luke's body. In the real world, Luke struggles to stand as this conflict rages on in his soul. "Master, no, get away." It is as if he is a man possessed. Finally, Palpatine's consciousness rises to the surface. "I will not be taken down by a cripple and his useless father." Using his power, Palpatine wills Luke's body to function through sheer power of the Force. It looks and feels unimaginably painful for Luke. Rey leaps at him. Ben joins. "What are you going to do, girl? Strike down the only master who ever loved you?" "I can pull him out of you!" Rey begins to use the Force to start to rip Palpatine's spirit out of Luke, but it doesn't work. "You lied to me!" "I gave you purpose, girl. I gave you gifts beyond your wildest dreams. And now you have your own destiny to fulfill." The Forge calls to her again, this time even stronger. Her eyes look as if possessed. Ben screams, "No, Rey!" "Don't listen to him, snap out of it." She turns on Ben, consumed by the dark side. The Forge has taken her over. She is no longer in control. The two fight with all of their skill and mastery, both incorporating forms of the light and the dark side combat. "Rey, stop this! You can beat it!" Ben is now fighting Rey and Palpatine masked as Luke. "Grandfather, help, please!" Ben's cry for help reaches Anakin in the depths of the ethereal plane and snaps him out of it. He screams and pulls Sheev back, giving Luke control of his body again. Luke, now back in control, turns to Ben to stop Rey from taking over the Forge. She fights them, her skill multiplied by the power of the Forge. Possessed, she initializes the Forge's defense protocols. Hundreds of droids fill the room to attack Ben and Luke. They fight them off as she ascends to a new control chamber. She moves over to the controls. "Rey, no! Fight it, Rey! Fight it!" Rey's inner voice screams, trying to get out. "Stop!" Back in the ethereal plane, Sheev and Anakin square off. "Young fool, you can't defeat me." Palpatine unleashes a barrage of attacks. The full might of his power is incomprehensible. He is able to subdue Anakin and take control of Luke again. No! Ben and Luke battle it out once again. Rey, you can stop this. You can do it, Rey. You can do it. You have to fight. Fight! Rey hears the words, but can't act. The Forge has taken root in her spirit. They are becoming one. Within seconds, she understands exactly how the Forge operates. Every gear, every switch. This is it. She knows this moment. She knows what is supposed to happen. The destiny Revan told her, but she cannot give in. She digs down deep within herself and fights with everything she's got. She screams and is finally able to take control again. She knows what she needs to do. I need to overload the cosmic engine. Do it! Sheev cries out that will kill you. The Forge must have a master. Rey clutches the glowing posts and begins to use the Force to pull more energy out of the Tatooine sun. The energy is immense. In the combat between Ben and Luke, they accidentally turn the eye on again. This time with the entire force of the twin sun firing through its oculus. Rey screams, trying to heat up the system. Electricity shoots through her body. Ah! A tear in space and time begins to ripple through the chamber. The bridge between the ethereal plane and reality blur. The lines between what is spirit and what is real dilute. Humanoid spirits begin to appear around them. Sheev and Anakin get pulled into the physical plane through the power of the Forge. The Forge speaks. Rey, you cannot overcome us. You are our destiny. Quaking with pain, trying to summon the strength to pull the energy through the eye, she speaks a final word of defiance. I'll write my own destiny. With that, she pulls every last bit of energy through the system she can. The Forge begins to melt and break down. Luke locks blades with Ben, Sheev with Anakin. Luke sees Obi-Wan. He whispers words of reassurance. Use the Force, Luke. Ben looks off at the ripples in reality and sees Han. He says nothing, his eyes reassuring. Father, He can't get the words out. It's okay, son. I know. I've missed you too. And just as quickly as he was there, he vanishes. Anakin and Sheev get ripped back to the ethereal plane. Palpatine screams at Anakin, "Look at you! A failed Jedi! A failed Sith! A failed father! Even in death you cannot win! It's time for you and the Jedi to end!" In the chaotic reality distortion, Anakin looks around. Qui-Gon comes to him. Anakin panics. "Master, I don't know if I can beat him." Anakin, remember who you are. In that moment, everything stops. He is transported beyond time and space. Anakin sees Padme. She walks up to him gently. They stare into each other's eyes. "Padme, I am so..." She places a finger on his lips. "I know." Her reassurance is all the strength he needs. He wishes he could stay here forever. But he knows he still has one final job to do. He opens his eyes and snaps back to the conflict. He looks back at Palpatine. There are no endings, Sheev. Only new beginnings. With that, he smiles and disengages his lightsaber. Palpatine seizes the opportunity and cuts Anakin down. Anakin dissolves and his power is absorbed by Palpatine. Thinking he'd won, Palpatine begins to laugh. But within moments, his body begins to glow, his essence dissolving. "No, no, no! I won! I won!" Before he can get out his next words, he turns into pure white light and transforms into the Force. Anakin's sacrifice of his pure spirit finally destroys the Sith, for good. It's over. Luke collapses as if just surviving an exorcism. Blackened scars trace across his body from the ordeal. "Uncle, let's get you out of here." Ben and Rey hoist Luke over their shoulders and make their way to the transport. The Forge collapses and falls out of orbit, melting in the heat of the sun. The three barely escape from the cataclysm. On the ground, Finn, Mara, and the Jedi celebrate. Poe and the fighters blow up the last of the satellites. In the air, the First Order warships begin to destabilize. They were successful. The Emperor and by extension, the First Order are no more. In the intervening days, the group spends time recovering from their wounds. Some physical, some emotional, all taxing. Poe walks over to Rey and presses his hand on her cheek. "How is it?" Still nothing. She stretches her hand out, calling out to the Force. But nothing. "I can't feel it anymore. The Forge pulled it out of me. It will come back. Or it won't. It will." They both look over at Luke being nursed back to health by Mara. "How's he doing?" You can't go through something like that and not be affected, right? I don't know. Poe and Rey watch Mara gently take care of Luke. Do we know what happened between them? Leia walks over. It was just before Ben was born. Mara became pregnant. It was going to be a little girl. Leia pauses for a long moment. She miscarried. She blamed herself. She felt as though Luke having a family would have taken his focus away from the Jedi. He wanted her to stay, but she left, knowing that his place was with the Order. He never would have become the Jedi the galaxy needed if not for Mara Jade. From that moment on, Luke poured everything he could into the Order, but he never stopped loving her. I think you remind him of the daughter he never had, Rey. The life he could have had. Rey and Poe take in the weight of that information, uncertain how to respond. Luke unknowingly interrupts. Rey, Poe, meet me by the farm, please. There is something to discuss. The group gathers by the old Skywalker homestead. Luke looks out over the sunset. Friends, it is time. The group looks around confused. My time leading the Jedi has come to an end. The team is shocked, but they understand. A teacher must always look towards the future, and well, with what future I have remaining, I'd like to spend it with someone quietly. He looks over to Mara. And it's time for the Jedi to continue without Luke Skywalker. He begins to address each person individually to impart his final thoughts. Leia, you are the fiercest woman I know. The galaxy needs you now more than ever. Not as a voice for one people, but all people. You will become the next Supreme Chancellor. Luke. I don't, it is your destiny. I love you. I love you too. Luke kisses Leia on the cheek and gives her a heartfelt hug. Poe, born into warfare and bloodshed, you were always looking for your next fight, and you were pretty good at finding it. Now you have found peace and a connection you can build on for a lifetime. Han would be so very proud of you. Fighting back tears, he muscles out a, "Thank you, sir." Finn, you have found your calling. You are a leader, not born, but created. Through adversity, you found your voice, and with it, your strength. Your empathy, goodness, and heroism can change the tides of war, not through the skill of your blade, but by your conviction for what is right. You will be the heart of the Jedi Order going forward. Rey, you were born into this galaxy with no hope of finding your own path. At the mercy of others' cruelty and the mark of a forbidden darkness, you were still able to find the spark inside you and clamor towards the light. Where there was none, you have cobbled together a family. You will go on to have many adventures and help thousands. Because of this, you will be the will of the Jedi, giving it the strength to endure. And Ben, through the loss of your father, you went through unimaginable torment and traveled down a road of darkness that most never come back from. You did. You will be able to take this knowledge and teach others, not through books and warnings, but with experience. For this reason, you will be the Jedi's wisdom. There is a large galaxy out there that will need all of your help. Now perhaps more than ever. We will need to rebuild. Threats will always be there, but our resilience to meet them with strength and compassion is what will allow us to endure. The galaxy is in your hands now. It is yours to shape, and I know you will do an immense job at it. And who knows, perhaps a long time from now, perhaps in a galaxy out there far, far away from our own, others will learn of our stories, what we fought for, what we stood for, our struggles, our triumphs, the losses and the victories, and perhaps it will help show them the way too. To know that the wars were never fought among the stars but in our hearts, that every day we get to choose the masters we serve. That is my hope. And what about you, Master Skywalker? What will you do? Luke stops to look on his family one last time before he rides off into the sunset with Mara. Don't worry, Rey. I will be with you. Always.